Welcome back to the Mompreneur Mentor channel. Today, I am delighted to have with me Jackson Rucker, another amazing author from the Air Fryer Secrets book that is launching this September. It is highly anticipated. All proceeds go to the Operation Underground, which is fantastic. This whole book was spearheaded by Kevin Stephen Quinn, and I'm so honored to have you with me today, Jackson. Welcome. Thank you for being on, and please introduce yourself to our audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. What is going on? My name is Jackson, and thank you for that wonderful intro. I'm right now at my mom's house. I'm visiting her for the Thanksgiving holiday. Super excited for about a month or so from now for the launch of the book Air Fryer Secrets. And I was fortunate enough to have a chapter in that book. And I'll get into the story of how that happened, because that also relates to the rest of my story, which is super cool. So I actually just barely graduated college from university studying with a degree for psychology. And
I got mine in psych.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah. So the way that is relevant into my story is actually because all throughout the time that I was in school during the summer, I was actually doing door-to-door sales, and I was doing door-to-door sales selling pest control. And each summer I wanted to obviously get better, wanted to increase my sales ability, wanted to also find out how I could apply the things that I was learning in psychology to my sales career, right? And as I was going through towards the end of my degree, I was trying to really figure out, like, okay, what is it that I actually want to pursue? Do I want to go to grad school, study psychology further? Do I like sales? Do I want to further that and actually pursue that as my career, as my furthering education? And one thing that really benefited me was about a year ago, before my last couple semesters as a student, I actually was fortunate enough to go to Stephen Larson's event called OfferMind. So
Nice.
That was the first time that he had ever done that event. And I had known Stephen when I was a little kid because we're both from the same hometown.
Okay.
And I hadn't really been following Stephen for the longest time. And I just kind of got into his content, started watching some of the things that he did. And I went to his event. And at that event, I did the entrepreneurial thing of being an action taker and actually invested in being into his high ticket coaching program. Right. And that was like the most expensive thing I had ever purchased ever. Right. At the time. And I was like super scared, super nervous. And I was like, Steven, I don't even have a business. I don't even know what it is that I'm trying to do. and so what happened was, it took a few months for him to obviously get content. You know, he wasn't just leaving us hanging to dry, but he obviously followed his framework of selling something and then being able to fulfill on it, right?
Yeah.
Proving out the offer. And so I got to be one of the first people that kind of saw the back end of how he does things to help people to create a business from zero to being able to make their first money online. And
that's amazing.
So what happened was I went to his 3-day event, which is part of his offer, which is like a 3-day intensive where you fly out to Boise, meet him, and get to be with his team, the people that he has to make him successful. And that is when I met Kevin Quinn. And it was at that event in May of this year that I just kind of struck up some conversation with him, got to know Kevin a little bit. And then it was a few days after that event that I saw that he had spots that were open for this co-authored book, which is what we know to be Air Fryer Secrets. And so I was like, okay, this is a huge opportunity for me to obviously find out what it is that I'm trying to actually do and be able to obviously get my message in front of other people who are wanting to improve their skills as an entrepreneur and as a business owner themselves. And so when as I've been going through Stephen Larson's program, I've been realizing, okay, well, I do love sales and I do love psychology. How can I mesh those together, right? That same question that I had when I first started. And I realized that door-to-door salesmen are very limited in the education that they get when they're learning as a door-to-door salesman, right? I realized like the sales managers that I had before and the people who I had teaching me door-to-door sales weren't teaching me how to market online. They weren't teaching me email marketing. They weren't teaching me about customer research. They weren't teaching me about all these other things, right? They were teaching they were teaching me, right? But this is what they teach. They teach you how to be a door-to-door salesman, which is totally fine. That is in the confines of what their education should teach, right? And it makes sense, but it does not make sense when you take into account of what their why typically is. Their why typically as a door-to-door sales trainer, as a recruiter, is to help build sales skills within an individual so that way they can set them up for life, right? Set them up to pay for school, let them get out of school debt free, let them buy their first car, let them do all these things as an entrepreneur, right? But I was like, well, so where's the disconnect here? I was learning how to be an entrepreneur by learning how to do door-to-door sales, but they weren't teaching me anything that I was like hearing the chatter in the back of my mind by watching all these other online entrepreneurs. I was like, okay, so how is it that they're able to learn entrepreneurship, do all the things online and make money, and oftentimes even make more money and more impact than these door-to-door salesmen who are having to slave away in person?
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's
okay,
a lot of work and commitment.
yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people, and I talk about this in my chapter. There's a lot of people who can make door-to-door sales very successful, but there's going to be a change in the door-to-door industry that there's going to be the most successful salesmen are going to be the ones who know how to sell in person as well as know how to sell online.
Nice.
And
So is that the title of your chapter? What's the title?
yeah, so my chapter talks about door-to-door sales funnels. And so what that is in being able to educate people who are in digital marketing that they have a new set of customers that they didn't know that they had, which are people in door-to-door sales. Because door-to-door salesmen are wanting right now to be able to learn how to sell more effectively. And that involves being able to leverage online marketing and social media, which is a topic of conversation that they don't know a lot about because they haven't ever been taught it, right? And so the other thing is to be able to educate door-to-door salesmen that they need people like the other authors in the book to be able to help educate them and take their entrepreneurship to a next level.
Yes. Wow. I love that. I'm really loving meeting all of you guys. And that is so unique. Every time I hear a new topic, I'm like, it wouldn't have even crossed my mind, but you're right. Nowadays, we have digital doors and there are Facebook profiles, our social media, Instagrams, our Twitter, and door-to-door salesmen have great value and great skills. And it's so, thank you for doing that for this. I mean, who else is doing that? I don't think anyone else is doing that. Jackson is the man, guys. He's the
Thanks.
With the plan, going door to door to digital is what I'm hearing. I think that is awesome. So is it really kind of structured for like the newbie or the guy who's already at the top of his door to door game, who's ready to go online? Or how did you kind of put that into a chapter so I can kind of like wrap my head around it?
Yeah, definitely. So the chapter that I wrote outlines basically my story, a little bit of what I shared with you just now, as well as highlights the next steps of what's actually happening currently right now with a door-to-door salesman who's wanting to go online. Now, there's going to be obviously people who might read this book that are brand new and don't know anything about door-to-door sales or digital marketing, and they're kind of getting inserted into this whole conversation that's going on. They're not really knowledgeable about what is going on, which is totally fine. But who this chapter is going to benefit most is somebody who's familiar with door-to-door sales and is wanting to learn digital marketing, because that's what they have all the rest of the chapters to help them to do, right? Now, this also is going to benefit people who are in digital marketing but are trying to find a new customer, which are door-to-door salesmen, because they need to be helped, right? Because they're not learning from their higher ups and from their sales managers and from even the owners of some of these companies, because they learned how to be a business person 10, 15, 20 years ago when digital marketing wasn't so much of a hot topic.
Yeah, and maybe even the customer could be the business owner. Like if you train the business owner to train their door-to-door salesman, you know? So is that kind of, what's your offer like? What do you got going on there without giving too much of what's behind the door? without
Sure,
giving
yeah.
it all away.
Yeah. So basically, the offer that I have for people who are going to be the readers of Air Fryer Secrets is a chance for them to actually get paid by helping me spread my message. So I have built an affiliate program where I'm going to be paying people to actually help me spread this message to people who are in door-to-door sales. So that way they themselves can be incentivized, obviously, to be able to spread this message to their audience and the people that they help as well, and can use it as a tool to leverage their credibility as someone, if it's somebody who's in digital marketing, leverage that as somebody, leverage that as a tool so that way they can prove to other door-to-door salesmen that this is a topic worth talking about and worth actually pursuing.
Wow, I love that. That is so innovative. And I love how it came so organically. We are learning that right now, you guys out there in the YouTube sphere, watching this whole Air Fryer Secrets unfold. We are all learning that we are building and disrupting new markets just organically through living our lives and our experiences. I've been learning that with all the authors I've been interviewing. If you guys haven't checked out all of the authors, they are on the Air Fryer Secrets playlist on the channel. Now, if people want to connect with you, they want to join their affiliate program, and they're like, I want to learn more, I want to be on your team, Jackson, how can they find you online and reach out or be a part of the affiliate program?
Yeah, so if they are wanting to actually go through the program that I have for people, it's a 5-week program. They can actually just message me. My name is Jackson Rucker, and they can find me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. And if you're the type of person where you're like raising your hand saying, Jackson, I know that I need this. I know that I want you to help me to implement online marketing for my door-to-door sales team. Just reach out to me, send me a message and say, hey, I want to work with you.
All right,
Pretty
I
easy.
love it. Hey guys, you heard it from the man with the plan himself, going from door to door to digital with Jackson Rucker today. And don't forget to check out the entire Air Fryer Secret playlist. Again, all the proceeds go to the Operation Underground, amazing, amazing charity. And there's so much value, thousands of dollars of value in this book. Before we head out, do you want to give our viewers one last quote or tidbit of advice before we sign off, Jackson?
Yeah, I had to kind of replay in my mind, and I still, to this day, it's a constant thing where you have to remind yourself that the offer that you have, whether it's as a digital marketing entrepreneur or as a door-to-door salesman or whatever it is that you sell or market, you have to remember that you aren't trying to be in the convincing game. You need to go where the attention is at and be actually offering something that is helpful to the person you're trying to market to. Because if you're trying too hard to try and convince somebody that they need whatever it is that you're selling, it's going to be an uphill battle. But that's one thing that I realized as a door-to-door salesman was oftentimes when I first started in door-to-door sales, I was trying to go door to door, trying to convince every door to be a yes, and I was wasting a ton of time. But there's even more accelerated paths that someone can take, especially with marketing one-to-many online. But in any circumstance, if you remind yourself that you're not in the convincing game, but you're actually trying to meet the person where they're at with the desires that they have, you're going to have a lot easier time being able to sell the product you sell, to offer the service that you offer, and to be able to actually accomplish the transformation you're trying to help those other people to have.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
it. All of our watchers out there, don't forget to check out the rest of the playlist and look in the description box below for all the links for Jackson and the Air Fryer Secrets book. Bye, guys.
Thanks.